Welcome back, everybody, coast to coast, This Week in America. Great to have you with us on the program today. Website, thisweekinamerica.us. Dr. LeslieBeth Wish is a nationally recognized licensed clinical psychotherapist, honored for her pioneering work in love, career, happiness, and success, first coming to prominence for her pioneering research about women's hidden obstacles to career development. That research sparked a growing concern about why today's career-minded women are often smart about work, but not about love. Dr. Wish has been named a top 50 social worker by the National Association of Social Workers. She's the founder of LoveVictory.com, co-founder of the counseling network for Special Operations Warrior Foundation. She has decades of experience and research with more than 10,000 people. The author of a pair of self-help books, Smart Relationships and The Love Adventures of Almost Smart Cookie, and writing her next book about intuition. Her website, LoveVictory.com, empowering you to become brave, smart, and intuitive in love, life, work, and happiness. Dr. LeslieBeth Wish back with us on This Week in America. Doctor, welcome back to the program.
Thank you so much. I love being here. I'm waving to those people who can only listen. I'm just waving hello.
Yes, and you can go to our website, thisweekinamerica.us, and go to the YouTube version and see all of the programs we've done with Dr. Wish, of course, obviously including this one, and go to iTunes and you can listen to our programs as well. The topic today we're going to talk about is how to stop arguing and settle disagreements at home and work. This will be an interesting discussion. And I guess the place to start pretty much is let's define exactly argument and why do we argue all the time, it seems like.
Well, we tend to argue more with our intimate partners and with our families more than we argue at work. Somehow we have greater boundaries, greater rules around us at work that you don't want to make a fool of yourself. But sometimes we do, but we tend to make more of a fool of ourselves with our families and our intimate partners and our children. So let's look at why we do that. What is arguing all about? Some people say it has to do with power. That might be true. It isn't always true, but some people need to be right all the time to let you know what they're thinking of, and you are stupid. And what often happens if you're a willing co-conspirator, then what you do is you let your correct partner, the one who's always right, get more like Donald Duck. They get really, you know how Donald would get all flustered?
Oh, yes, yes.
Okay, well, I see arguing and yelling and screaming and stomping, and even when it gets worse, hitting and becoming, physically violent, very much like having a tantrum. And that's what Donald Duck does all the time. He has a tantrum. And the person on the other end feels very small, very powerless, and you also feel very foolish. What's interesting is the person who's on the receiving end is the one who feels like a little monkey. I love this little monkey because It makes you feel stupid, like, what's wrong with me? I'd like to be as smart as my partner who's yelling, but they're often not smart if they have to resort to yelling and screaming. Yelling, screaming, hitting, and verbally abusing your partner is not power. It is not confidence. It's a grown-up temper tantrum that can have very dangerous consequences.
On Dr. LeslieBeth Wish's website, LoveVictory.com, there's a blog from earlier this year where you talk about the most common tips to avoid in disagreements, effective ways for handling disagreements. A lot of great information there on this particular topic as well, if you go back to the blog section at LoveVictory.com. And you point out that even the most loving couples have disagreements, and they actually can have issues that last for a while. It really, what isn't a measure of the quality, the depth of the love, you're going to have problems from time to time.
Yes, and you used a key word. Loving, healthy, problem-solving couples have disagreements, not fights. That's what you want to avoid, because when a fight erupts, people only have so many choices. And this also happens at work. You get protective of yourself. In the situations at home, one person gets corrective and says, you're wrong, you're nuts, you forgot what I said and I didn't say that. Or you go on the offensive or the defensive. And that's what people do at work too. They get defensive or they get on the offense. Of course, being on the offense with your boss is a really dumb idea.
Yes.
But let's look at why couples disagree. Well, it is almost always built into your relationship. You've heard the expression opposites attract. Well, so what does that really mean? Does that mean introvert, extrovert, good in sports, not good in sports? No. It means that you tend to share a common emotional bond. Think of a flower. All right, this is a flower. I'm wiggling my fingers. Oh, wait, I have flowers. Hang on. I forgot. Here are some nice
And you can see
flowers.
the video version of this by going to thisweekinamerica.us and click onto YouTube. So you've got the flowers now?
I'm holding up a pot of daisies. Not real ones, but daisies are my favorite flower, so I keep them around all the time. So what happens is when couples get together, they share a common root system. Maybe you both came through families of either deprivation or criticism. Maybe there was a death or illness in the family. You share some kind of common theme where even the details are different, but you share something in common feeling wise. And so what happens when couples get together, complementarity is a strength in your relationship. You bring different relationship styles. So one person might be very task oriented, the other person might approach something from the feeling way. Both are important. So you bring your different styles together to form a stronger team. But think what happens when disagreements and hurts and slights and confusion arises. What happens then is that each person resorts to what their style is. So it is inbred into couples to have disagreements because you bring different problem solving skills. Does that make sense?
It makes perfect sense. And again, it's explained in the blog on the website lovevictory.com. You're listening to This Week in America, our website, thisweekinamerica.us. Our guest on the program, Dr. LeslieBeth Wish. I mentioned some of the common tips to avoid. And one you emphasize is don't use sarcasm. Invariably, somebody wants to say something they think is really cute, and that can have lasting impact, can it?
Well, here are some love killers. And this is well researched. These aren't just my ideas. Oh, and I should add that anything I say here is solidly based in the research of others and my research with thousands and thousands of people. So it isn't just off the top of my head. You have to be careful when you hear advice. You should keep a question mark in your head. Where is this advice coming from? So here are some things that have been proven relationship killers, love killers especially: sarcasm, criticism, and walking away from the argument. That doesn't mean that that is the same thing as saying to your partner, wait, I need to take a time out. That's okay. You're reporting what you're doing. But walking away, terrible. The other person feels undervalued, dismissed. And interestingly, there are some really good research findings right now that show that there are health consequences if you are critical and sarcastic. It tends to rile you up, get you very aggravated. The person even doing the sarcastic remarks is already aggravated, and it seems to have an impact on heart disease and heart health. On the other hand, people who walk away often are tense and really tightly wound, and they often end up having back problems and other skeletal and muscular problems.
All of this, again, at the website, lovevictory.com. Dr. LeslieBeth Wish, our guest in the program. One thing you talk about with effective ways for handling disagreements, rate your upset and urgency. And this takes almost some pre-planning, because we know inevitably we're going to have a disagreement about something. This is sort of the ground rule that you can follow once you get to that point. Talk about how you go about doing this.
Oh, good. Yes, let's get towards solutions. Okay, so here are the common things I've already mentioned. Don't walk away. Don't get sarcastic. So if something is bothering you, and this works with your boss or your supervisor or a colleague, you say, I need to talk to you about something. And on a scale of 1 to 10, with 10 the highest, it's about a 7. Give a number because it prepares the listener. There isn't that fear of the unknown. The second thing to do is to give some kind of information as to, honey, this is not about you, or to your supervisor, this has nothing to do with what the instructions you gave me. You want to make the other person calm and right if possible. So that's the very beginning. And then that's the next big step. what most couples do, and colleagues at work, is they play history. You said I was supposed to send the report to Ralph, or you said that mom could come and stay with us next weekend and the next weekend. No, I didn't. You misunderstood me. I didn't tell you to call Ralph. Do you see what happens? You go backwards, and you end up arguing over, I said, you said, no, I didn't, yes, I did. So skip all that, because really long term happy couples report that they have very, very good problem solving skills. And what they do is they work as a team. And here's my favorite team. You should keep this in mind. Let me find my favorite team. Hang on. There we go. This is my favorite team. Okay? They're great together.
Yes.
When I was a little girl, I was in love with Mickey. I thought that he was the most wonderful man. I thought he was a man. I didn't see him as an animal. The most wonderful man in the world. He was smart and successful and optimistic, had a long-term relationship, and Disney said that they were married, even though we never heard about it or saw it. But they were married and had little mice. And so everything about him was just so special. So they're a great team. Become a team. Keep Minnie and Mickey in mind, or even Mr. and Mrs. Potato Head, or whatever couple you can keep in mind. And so what happens is, what they do is they switch being who they are to being their partner. So, for example, one of the big problems I handle is dealing with couples who are getting married and planning their honeymoon. And she wants to do this and he wants to do that. And they begin to argue. Well, we're going to go to the beach. I don't want to go to the beach. I want to go to Europe, or I want to go to a big city, or I want to go to the country or the parks or whatever. And it doesn't work because they're not hearing each other. So what I recommend is that you pretend to become your partner and you speak in the first person. So let's say the husband wants to flop on the beach. The future wife says to herself, I'm going to be my future husband, and I'm going to say, I want to flop on a beach because I have really worked extra hard, longer hours, so we could save for the honeymoon and have a little to put down on a house. And I never get to go to the beach. I never get to go outside. I'm trapped in an office. And it reminds me so much at home, where we lived in this tiny, tiny little house, and other houses nearby were so close that we had no sunlight, and I just really long for the sun. Now, what happens is, as you go through that process, you begin to understand your partner. And even better, your level goes way down. And then you switch parts. And maybe the husband says, well, he's now pretending to be his future bride. I want to go to a city. I love big cities. I find them just so fascinating, and window shopping. And, I'm a girl from the country, and I never saw anything but rolling hills and my brothers and father and uncle on tractors. And I always felt like if I could just get to the city and maybe get myself some nice shoes or a handbag or something that makes me feel like I'm not just a country girl, that would be so important to me. I mean, don't get me wrong, my family was very loving, but I never got off the farm. So what happens is, pretty soon, you don't need to worry about the solution, because as you show each other that you understand and accept each other, a solution emerges.
All of this at the website, lovevictory.com. Dr. LeslieBeth Wish with us on the program. And you talk about timing is really important. And you say, pick a calm time. And this would work at the office. This would work at home. Talk about why that's so crucial, because timing is important. You really need a quiet place to discuss this, don't you?
Yes, and you don't want someone coming to the situation as Donald Duck. Okay, let's switch for a moment to the work setting. You don't want to be approaching a colleague, your supervisor, or the big boss when you know that there's a deadline and it hasn't been met, or there's been some other assignment, and you know the whole office is kind of in motion. You don't want to do that. I'm holding up Donald and wiggling him, but you can keep in your mind all the times that Donald had his quacking moments. So you want to pick a nice, calm time. So how can we use these things at work? The most important thing to do at work is to understand what your boss or your team member's goals are. What can you do to show that you're a team member, that you're part of the team, and you're moving forward? Don't be the one in the team who's the critic. Always move towards problem solution. The other thing you can do preventively is keep a log of your accomplishments, things that you've done. And depending upon how your office works and what the culture is in your office, send an email or a note or a meeting or a stairwell conference, however your office works, and let your supervisors know how you're doing. Hey, I just closed this deal, or I made 4 phone calls to so and so and I finally got through. That way, you are a team member and a winning team member. Because remember, your job is to make the company successful and your boss and supervisors and teammates look good.
You're listening to This Week in America. Our guest on the program, Dr. LeslieBeth Wish. Her website is lovevictory.com. Information there on the books that we had talked about, information on the topic we're talking about, a lot of great blogs and information on a whole number of relationship aspects, including what we're talking about on today's program. Again, it's all available at lovevictory.com. If you go to our website, thisweekinamerica.us, you can link on directly. A minute or so left in the program. Something as I'm looking down through the effective ways for handling disagreements, and you have 12, is don't expect all issues to be settled immediately. And you say basically what sometimes the best action we can take is to decide not to take any action right now. We're always looking for a quick resolution and then we can go on. And what sometimes that's not really possible.
And not all problems are solved immediately. Long-term couples report that they have issues that were never got resolved. Now, think of the big issues that work has to deal with, like should we move the building? Should we merge? Sometimes those issues don't get resolved so quickly. And in a long-term intimate relationship, there are big issues. Should mom move in with us? Should we take in your brother? Should we have a child? Should we have another child? Should I quit my job and go back to school? All these things are big decisions, and we often are forced to make big decisions with incomplete information. So just think of that for the moment. And so you don't get so frustrated that we've got to solve this right now, right now.
One of the techniques, and we're going to go a second or so longer because I think this is a good one, is what you call the magic time wand. We all end up, the mouth operates before the brain sometimes has a chance to put the proper words in there. And it's like, wow, why did I just say that? You're basically talking about a do-over.
Yes, and you can do a do-over. You can come to your partner or your boss, and these things are often better done in writing so the person doesn't react on the spot. I love writing. A lot of people hate text messages, but I think they're a great way to calm things down. Your teenager or a young adult child often gets, too reactive, and your boss can do that too, particularly if there's a problem. So send a message. Hey, look, I misunderstood what was going on. I had a lot on my plate at the moment, and let me do a redo. You always can take charge that way, and your boss especially will appreciate that.
Great advice. You'll find it at the website lovevictory.com. Our guest on the program has been Dr. LeslieBeth Wish, nationally recognized licensed clinical psychotherapist, best-selling author, and the blog is excellent. A wealth of information at the website lovevictory.com. We, of course, will have Dr. Wish back on the program. Really great information today. Always a pleasure to have you on the program. Thank you for being with us.
Thank you so much. And I encourage your listeners and viewers to sign up on my website, Love Victory, and they will get 3 free gifts.
Ooh, that's perfect. You go to the website, lovevictory.com, and if you go to our website as well, thisweekinamerica.us, you can link on directly to Dr. LeslieBeth Wish's website, and we'll have her back in the program. We're going to take a break. We'll be right back on This Week in America, website thisweekinamerica.us.
Thank you. Bye-bye.